Here's another equation to solve. In fact, you will later today see where this equation came from. It took calculus to get us to this equation, but the solution really has nothing to do with calculus. It's algebra. Let me rewrite this a little bit using a radical in one case, and also noticing that the square root is going to be in the denominator because of the negative. So rewriting this, I have x divided by 6 times the square root of 16 plus x squared. Okay, that's what's over here. If I move the 1/10 to the right side of the equation, I get that this is equal to 1/10. Okay, this is probably what you will be used to after a while of working with calculus. This is more the algebra look of the problem. And solving it isn't that particularly strange. We have a fraction equals to a fraction. Cross-multiplying is what we're usually thinking of doing. So I multiply 10 times x. And that's equal to 1 times this. Okay, now, how do you typically handle problems that have radicals in them? Square them. That gets rid of the radical. So when I square both sides of this, I get 100x squared equals, careful here, when I square this, I'm multiplying 6 times 6 to get 36. And when I square the radical becomes history. And now I notice I have x squareds on both sides. Let me multiply this out because I want to move the x squareds eventually over here. This will be 36 times 16 is 576 plus 36x squared. Now, moving the 36x squareds over here with its buddies, I'm left with 64x squared equal to 576. Since I chose my numbers wisely, when I divide both sides by 64, I get that x squared is 9. And theoretically, we have two answers here. Either x is 3 or x is negative 3. But let's try them. Let's go back in the original and see if that makes sense. I'm going to try x equals 3. I'm not necessarily going to practice the numbers or try the numbers. I just want to make sure if they're absurd. I have a positive number here, positive down here. I got positive and positive. It's not obviously wrong. In fact, if you substitute it in, you'd find that it's right. The other answer, though, you got to be careful with these guys. You've probably seen this before, but when in squaring both sides of an equation is part of your solution, you sometimes end up with what are called extraneous solutions because you've changed the very nature of the equation that you're solving. Negative 3 won't work in here, and I'll say no more about it other than the fact on the left side, if x is negative, this fraction would be negative, and this fraction is positive, and that just can't happen. So again, if you tried to substitute it in, you'd find that no, that isn't the answer. In fact, the one and only